Hello and welcome back to Eldritch Girl, and here we are with our very first 10 films of the 100 Horror Films in 92 Days challenge. I can't believe I've got 10 actually, I did that in record time. So the rules of the challenge as laid out on sarahstubbsays.com are these. The challenge runs from August the 1st through to October 31st. The goal is to watch at least 100 horror movies in this time period. The films must be new to you. You haven't seen it before. Films must be at least 45 minutes to count. Films must be classified as horror by either Letterboxd or IMDb, but exceptions will be made for gateway horror films like Hocus Pocus, The Haunted Mansion, etc. Documentaries about horror films, those involved in making and promoting them, the filmmakers, the actors, the horror hosts, they also count. However, if a documentary does not discuss the aforementioned topics, they don't count, even if they have a horror tag. While TV shows do not count for the challenge, films from series like Masters of Horror and Hulu's Into the Dark are considered feature-length films and will count. So I think that also includes the vintage kind of films that, as long as they're over 45 minutes long, they're standalone horror films, even if they were released in a series, and so they would count for the challenge. Things like BBC's Ghosts series, things like West Country Tales, if that's over 45 minutes per episode. So anything like that I think would count. This challenge is not a dictatorship. If a good case can be made for a film that doesn't fall under the horror category, it can be brought to the Discord server and discussed among participants for a majority ruling. And there is a letterbox list for movies that have been approved by the group. There is no limit to how many films must be watched per day or week, only that you should have at least 100 by the end of the challenge. If you're not a part of the Discord server, though, and you're not doing the challenge you're just doing it for fun and you're doing it casually and you're doing it on your own, like I have been for the last couple of years. I think this is the first or second year only that I've been part of the Discord server. I think if you can make the case to yourself, it's fine. Anyway, I now have an active 100 Horror Movies 2026 letterboxd list, and the first 10 movies are as follows. Bit of a mixed bag, but we're going all around the world on this one. The first film I watched was Clout, 2021, directed by Bobby Emmanuel Okoye, written by the director and Promise Okoli. No budget, found footage, indie horror by, I think, a few college students. Suffers a bit from shaky handheld cam in parts. The plot is not always cohesive, but they really enjoyed making it. I think that comes out in just the way that they have put the film together, the acting. They give it 110%. It's a full extra star just for effort, really. They clearly have a good dynamic, and it's basically about 6 friends who embark on a journey to investigate the mysteries of the Ozalia forest in Nigeria. And I watched it on YouTube. I gave it 3 stars on Letterboxd. The second one I watched was another Nigerian film. It's a bit of a classic, this one. Sakobi the Snake Girl, 1998, directed by Zeb Ejiro, written by Zeb Ejiro and Ken Ogunejabo. This is a classic. It's part 1 of 2 on YouTube, so I am invested. I want to know how part 2 goes. It's basically about a man who wishes to be wealthy, so he gives up his only daughter as a sacrifice to the goddess. It's like a snake goddess. He flubs that part, and then he ends up divorcing his wife to marry a cobra woman like a dick. And so I really want to know how his marriage to Cobra Woman goes. But it's really cool, and you can watch that on YouTube. I gave that 3.5 stars. It is a bit of a classic, and people do have a lot of nostalgia around that one. I then watched Araromire, which is The Figurine, 2009, directed by Kunle Afolayan, written by Kemi Adesoye. This one is a bit long for me. I didn't know what to expect. It's more of a slice of life soap opera drama that goes slowly downhill with a twist at the end. But I'm into that. I like slice of life dramas. I love soap opera dramas. I love relationship dramas. So that's mostly what this is. And then there's this overtone of supernatural horror that goes along with it. This one actually plays the ideas in the recent movie Obsession. Not quite the same though, but it's like, what happens if you realise you're the pregnant wife of the love of your life because he has an idol that made it so? Like, what happens if you realise, oh, actually maybe, you know, he's got this idol and that's what's given him me? Yeah, so is that even what's happening? Or is it something else that's going on? It's really interesting. I love the twist. I did really enjoy it. It's about 2 hours or longer than 2 hours. It's really quite long. But it's about two buddies and a girl down on their luck have their lives changed when one of them discovers a mysterious figurine in an abandoned shrine, which, according to legend, bestows 7 years of good luck. But no one told them about the next 7 years. Watched it on YouTube, gave it 3 stars. Then I went into Italy and got into some Italian Gothics and a bit of giallo. La settima tomba, The Seventh Grave, 1965, directed by Garibaldi Serra Caracciolo, written by Alessandro Santini, Antonio Casale and Garibaldi Serra Caracciolo. When the English title card appeared as Old Scotland at the start, I knew I was in for a treat with this Italian Gothic. My favourite one is also set in Scotland, where it appears the actors have been dubbed back into English, even though they were speaking English to begin with. And I have no idea why, except that perhaps they've all got different accents. But the Scottish people have not been dubbed by Scottish people. It's very odd. Unless it's the weird sound mixing and they're literally just like a split second ahead. I don't know, there's something very odd about that sound balance. But it's called Seven Deaths in the Cat's Eyes, and that is a really good one. It's one of my favourites. This, not one of my favourites, but also set in the 1800s. It's about an American family who travel to Scotland for the reading of Sir Reginald Thorne's last will and testament, not expecting that the trip will lead them to black magic seances, mad doctors, escaped lepers and giallo-style killings. Missing for half a century, The Seventh Grave is a fascinating twist on The Cat and the Canary, which is a 1927 USA-made silent horror, remade under that title in 1939 USA and 1978 UK, and that ranks as one of the rarest and strangest Italian Gothic films ever made. So I'm glad I watched it. I watched it on YouTube. I gave it 3.5 stars. I especially did like that they didn't differentiate between England and Scotland in the film. They set it in Scotland specifically, and then they kept talking about England throughout. It's like, yeah, Italians don't care. Then I watched Il mostro dell'opera, The Monster of the Opera, 1964, directed by Renato Polselli, written by Giuseppe Pellegrini, Ernesto Castaldi, and Renato Polselli, the director. So if you love weird dream sequences, extended dance numbers, and jaded musical theatre performance winding each other up and getting off with each other, this is the one. There's also a vampire. It's basically Phantom of the Opera, but it is with a vampire who is not disfigured. So that's essentially the plot. A theatre troupe's young, energetic leader has secured an old theatre in which to produce his new production. The theatre's elderly caretaker urges the group to leave at once. A vampire is awakened and discovers that one of the troupe is the reincarnation of the woman who he once loved. Watched on YouTube, gave it 3 stars. Then I saw Demonia, a 1990 film directed by Lucio Fulci, written by Piero Regnoli and Lucio Fulci. This is quite a cool one. If you like evil nuns, then this is probably the one for you. Professor Malcolm Evans leads his archaeological expedition into the Valley of Temples in southeast Sicily. His companion and former student, Liza Harris, is looking forward to her very first dig. There's a whole lot of weird academic stuff going on here, but as somebody who used to be adjacent to the archaeology department, I will let it slide. But Liza feels a strange sympathy with the valley, and her recurring nightmares seem strongly tied to the nearby ruins. She is drawn to the remains of a 16th century convent. She's there to do like ancient Greek stuff, but okay, fine. She's drawn to the remains of a 16th century convent and its grisly legend of crucifixion, where basically they crucified the demon nuns. The local villagers arise to protect the entombed secrets of their ancestors as Liza's obsession with uncovering the truth takes her deeper into the forbidden ruins and further from sanity. And I gave that 3.5 stars. quite like that one. That was quite good. Then we get into Chilean horror. I watched Wekufe, The Origin of Evil, 2016, directed by Javier Attridge, also written by him as well. It's found footage. I thought it was really well done. It's obviously indie, and it really looks like they had fun making it. That is like my number one thing. Does it look like they enjoy being here? That's a star all by itself. This one is a really interesting one. So the premise is a student travels with her boyfriend to Chiloé, a remote Patagonia island in southern Chile, to investigate the link that exists between the high number of sexual related crimes and the myths and legends that surround this mysterious place. And I really appreciated the nuance of the folklore, and whether or not it was indigenous folklore or it was brought over by the Spaniards. And even though it was brought by the Spaniards, which is the general overarching belief, some people still believe in it. And there's this whole kind of like tug of war between those kinds of colonial beliefs and indigenous beliefs, and the fact that they both coexist. There's a lot of nuance to this. I really, really liked it. And the way that they discussed it. I also liked that the film itself is incredibly ambiguous. So that one is a standout for me. That I gave that one 4 stars. Then I finally saw a stop motion animation, La Casa Lobo, The Wolf House, 2018, directed by Cristóbal León and Joaquín Cociña, and written by Cristóbal León, Alejandra Moffat, and Joaquín Cociña. I'm sorry about my pronunciation of all of these, by the way. I did French, not Spanish in any form in school. And that was many, many years ago. So this is framed as a propaganda film to promote the colony, which is based on La Colonia Dignidad, founded by basically a paedophile, Paul Schaefer, who came over from West Germany with former Nazis and trafficked children and started this colony in Chile. And this is a stop-motion animated nightmare of a girl who escapes. She's chased by a wolf. She finds shelter in a strange house. So when I say escapes, she's part of a colony and then she asks loads of questions and then she's like, oh, I don't really like it here. And then she goes out to make it somewhere on her own. But she wasn't abused anywhere. She was just like, oh, I don't really fit in here, sort of thing. That's the premise. And she's in this house. She meets 2 little pigs in the house. So it's like a retelling of the 3 Little Pigs folktale. And she tells the pigs, oh, I'm not like the wolf. And then the window of the house, I really like this point. So everything moves and changes, and the art moves and changes. And one of the changes, as you kind of explore the house with her, the window appears, and it's a swastika that rotates to create a window that is a square window with a frame, like a cross in the middle, like a child's drawing of a window. And I thought that was so clever, because this is about the establishment of the colony, and essentially how Maria, the girl, becomes like, this is, sets up the rules of the colony and all this kind of thing. And she's not perfect. She tries really hard. It's a very weird film. It's very disturbing. The whole thing is very disturbing. It's just an amazing piece of art as well. It's just amazing to watch. So I gave that one 4.5 stars just for the experience, because I really appreciated that. And I think it's a really difficult subject matter as well. So it was a very interesting style to choose, and they're very interesting framing and really well done, I thought, anyway. And then lastly, I watched 2 films from India. They're both Hindi films. Bhooth, Bangla, 2026, directed by Priyadarshan, written by Rohan Shankar, Priyadarshan and Abhilash Nair. So it's the longest one, I think, of the 10. 2 hours, 45 minutes runtime. It has a musical interlude, of course, dance sequence at the wedding. It's got everything. It's a Hindi horror comedy. I was not bored the whole time. The setup is also a really fun relationship drama, family drama, with some romantic overtures, and then we get into the demon action. So a man inherits a palace in rural Manglapur and plans his sister's wedding there, but strange supernatural events and panicked locals force him to investigate the property's mysterious past. I really like that. I gave that 3.5 stars. Then I watched JungleMahal The Awakening 2023, directed and written by Arunava Chowdhury. I really wanted to like that, but it didn't hold my attention well enough. I could see that it's won some awards, like festival awards. I think it deserves them. The effects are not the best, also not the worst. It's interspersed with footage, but it's not a found footage film. I don't know, it was a kind of mixed bag for me, this one. I really like the atmosphere, I like the setting, I like the premise, but the film itself didn't do anything for me. It might do something for you. It's loosely based on real incidents in the monsoon of the mid-1980s, following the uprising of Naxalites in the Eastern Ghat Range. A group of travellers head through the deep forest to reach the rescue camps, and a series of mysterious incidents starts taking place around them as they find themselves in an abandoned guest house that is not what it seems. And again, I did like it, but this is the one I think I liked the least. I gave this 2.5 stars. So it's definitely looking like the standout horror films for me from this first batch of 10 from Chile, and with a close runner-up from Nigeria, and also India. So yeah, I really enjoyed all of these in some way. I think they all had something going for them. And I'll be back next time for the next 10 in my challenge. So hopefully I will make it to 20, and then I will tell you guys what I watched and what my favourites were. In the meantime, I've got some bonus episodes for you where I talk about media that I've really enjoyed apart from horror. So books, podcasts, TV shows, you name it, anything that I've enjoyed, I do a shout out for. So I'll have those episodes coming up as well. I hope to have some guests on to talk about films also, because I think it's going to be boring listening to me most of the time. So I also get bored listening to me. So I'd like to hear from other people and see what their favourite films have been in the challenge and what they've been watching. So yeah, look out for some of those. But that's it for now, I think. Those are my first 10 films. If I had to pick my favourite one, that is going to fluctuate, I think, depending on my mood. Because with hindsight, they're all sort of growing on me, even the ones that I gave quite low ratings to, like low for me. Yeah, The Wolf House is the one that I think about the most, I think. Wekufe, I just really enjoyed the premise. I just really liked it. Demonia, I think about that. I think about the imagery, but the film itself, I'm not sure. I'm not sure how good that one is for me compared to something like Dark Waters, which does evil nuns. Well, they're not evil, but they're trying to keep evil at bay really, really well. I did like Mostro of the Opera. There was a lot of things I liked about that, but I just didn't get on with some of the dream sequences in that. And the vampire with the pitchfork, I don't know, that didn't do it for me particularly. I'm very invested in the snake girl, Sakobi the snake girl. I really would want to see part 2 of that, and I really want to know how it ends. I have a feeling I know how it's going to end, but also, like, I just want, I want the world for his ex-wife. Like, can't believe he ditched her for a cobra woman. I like The Seventh Grave, but it doesn't, again, it's a wild ride gothic, but it doesn't, I don't know, it doesn't do a lot for me, that one. I was surprised I didn't like it more, but I definitely liked Seven Deaths in the Cat's Eyes more than I like The Seventh Grave, because that one's just got everything I like. It's got the romance part of it, and it's got like the guy in a gorilla suit, because I guess they couldn't get a real pet gorilla. Clout, I really like Clout. There was so much to like about that. I just wish that the plot had been a little bit more tied together. But yeah, overall, I've got to say, I think, yeah, Wekufe, The Wolf House are my top 2. And then, I don't know, the third one is just going to change depending on my mood. Like, is it Sakobi the Snake Girl? Is it Monster of the Opera? Is it Bhooth Bangla? Is it Demonia? I don't know. I'm going to go with Bhooth Bangla actually because it's funny. And again, like, it took 2 hours 45 minutes, and I have ADHD, and I was very much locked in for that. So I think that's very good. I think those three with Sakobi the Snake Girl as like a hot runner up. So there we go. If I had to choose, that would be my choice. And I will see you next time. Bye for now.